Backstage with Mothership on Solid Rock Radio begins now. Hear the best in new music, artist interviews, stories from the road, and more. You are now backstage, and here's your host, Mothership.
Hey everybody, my good friend David Pataconi, who you also know from TheoTerran, is recovering from a major surgery. I know many of you love him as much as I do and wanted an update, so I asked if he felt like getting on a call and sharing his story. Several weeks back, we were supposed to do a TheoTerran interview, and the day of, you were really ill, and so Monica he did it with me. Monica told me you were in the emergency room and that they thought your appendix had burst, but we had no idea what you were getting ready to go through.
I didn't either.
Yeah. So tell us the story, and if y'all don't like medical things, maybe you should plug up your ears.
So it was probably about a month long, maybe a little bit longer, the whole process, and I started to feel some pain, and I felt like it was being backed up,
Yeah.
bowels.
Constipation.
Yes, constipation. Yes, we're gonna start the
Let's start off with
constipation. Yeah. Sorry. So it started with that, and it would kind of feel like that for a while. Then a few days later, everything would flow and all that. And it got to the point where it wasn't getting better, and so I got to the hospital, and I saw the surgeons and all that stuff, and they thought it was either inflammatory bowel disease, like Crohn's or something like that, or my appendix burst, but they couldn't see my appendix. And based on the 2 CAT scans they had, it was just inflamed everywhere. And so they figured, well, if it's my appendix, they have a newer way of treating it. And so they basically treat it with antibiotics via IV. And then you do that for a few days, and then they go home and you treat it with oral antibiotics for a week. And then I guess it's got an 85% success rate. And so that week in between, I was feeling pretty good. I didn't have to have surgery, which was, nice and everything. But I ended up, I was working and even hanging up sound dampening panels at work, just, no pain or like that. It was, I was on Tylenol and stuff like that, but everything seemed to be working, And then I woke up on a Tuesday morning at midnight, and I was in excruciating pain. And I woke my wife up, and she's like, well, I'll go try, watching a show or something like that, see if it gets better. And it just kept getting worse. So 3 hours later, we're on our way to the hospital. And it was level 10 pain. I was literally crying. It got really bad. And so went to the hospital, saw the same surgeon as before. And she's like, yeah, I think at this point we're just going to do surgery. But she still wasn't convinced that it was appendicitis because of all the inflammatory. They did another CAT scan, all that stuff. It all looked the same. And so they got me ready for a colonoscopy. So I had to drink all that nasty stuff. And yeah, no fun. And so then they told me the next morning, they're like, oh, we're actually just going to do surgery. We're skipping the colonoscopy, which is probably good because, they had to go in there and, well, it was supposed to be a 2-hour surgery, to end up being 4. And the surgeon, she's the head surgeon of the trauma team, really cool lady, really knows her stuff and everything. And she told me initially, she's like, well, I will try to do it laparoscopically. If there's more I need to take out, which there might be, I'll have to make a bigger incision. And then worst case scenario, you also have a colostomy bag for 6 months. And so I was like, all right, so I went, going to surgery, God gave me so much peace. It was amazing. And the only thing I was just thanking him for helping me and everything and being with me. And I said, the only thing I really don't want is a colostomy bag, so, but if you're to your will that I have that, that's fine. And I'm also thinking well, I don't know how that'll affect KCF and audio feed, all these, these 2 concerts we're supposed to do at TheoTerran. But I was I just had peace, I'm okay. And so they put me on the operating table, operated on me. I woke up, I didn't have a bag. So I was like, yay, thank you, Jesus, because it would just be more of an inconvenience. And then I have to go back into surgery and all that stuff. So, but the head surgeon had told me afterwards, she's like, yeah, it was like a bomb went off in there. And so they had to take out not just my appendix, which had blown up, but also half my colon because there was just a lot of really bad tissue and stuff. And they were able to connect everything and get it all working and stuff. And she said it was This is a really cool thing. When it happened, the reason they couldn't see my appendix is my appendix had burst at some point, probably 20 days or so before surgery. And my colon kind of scooted over and then plugged the hole with itself.
No way.
And I was walking around working like this, like no pain, nothing like that. Like
using your colon as a cork. That is crazy.
Yeah, my colon corked itself. Yes. You know, and I told my surgeon, I'm like, that's totally a God thing. That's amazing. She's like, well, I've seen it here and there. I was like, well, even if God designed our bodies to do that, that's amazing. Like, you know, because she didn't seem like she'd seen that tons of times. So that was really cool, you know, to hear that. And then, so I was in the hospital a total of 9 days. I couldn't eat like food or anything for like 5 days. And so like everything had emptied from the colonoscopy prep, and then I didn't eat. And it kind of reset my whole system, which was kind of a blessing. I wasn't hungry, which is amazing. Like it was really weird.
Yeah, when you're on IVs, you're not hungry.
Well, there's like electrolytes in there and everything, and
everything you need.
It's, I guess, yeah, it's like the Matrix. Everything the body needs, you know. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is I've lost over 20 pounds since this all happened, which is kind of cool.
Kind of a rough way to lose 20 pounds.
Right. I don't recommend this diet. Yeah, it's expensive and painful. But yeah, everything was healing up well, and I was kind of getting up and walking, and I still can't walk my normal pace. I'm very slow, and it's a lot to get up and move around. It's still painful. It was a 7-inch vertical incision on my belly, so it's above and below my belly button, and they kind of cut around it, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. And they were going to send me home like, oh yeah, we'll just, give you some gauze and someone can help you with it. I'm like, well, my wife, she loves her doctor shows, but she's like queasy with like fake surgery. So she's not going to have any of that. And they're like, oh, okay. So then they had this other option, which is like, it's called a wound vac. And so they basically put this black foam on the inside of your wound. And then like they seal it up with like a clear plastic. And they attach like a vacuum thing to it. So it's a small little device, and it keeps constant suction on there. And so it does two things. It sucks out all the fluids and things that shouldn't be in there. And then it also compresses the skin together and helps it heal a lot faster. So it's really like interesting technology I've never heard of. Yeah, they've had it for a while, but it's very painful to get off, and they have to change it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it's really painful to get off. Yeah, I'm waiting for that to heal up. I don't get queasy at things usually for myself, I guess. So I was asking them, like, they were taking a picture, but it went straight to my chart. And I was like, can I get that picture? They're like, no, but we could use your phone. I'm like, okay. So I have 3 different pictures at this point, and I could see the wound getting smaller, and like, it looks healthy. It looks good. There's no infection, no redness. Like everyone's I have home nurses coming in to do that, which is, obviously not cheap, but it's approved by my insurance. So that's good. But yeah, they're just like, yeah, everything looks good. Everything. I had it changed yesterday, and it was probably the worst since they've changed it. It was just a lot of pain, and it was like bleeding and stuff. And so I'm still dealing with that. So it's like inside my belly, which is healing up pretty well. And then the outside, that incision is also having to heal and everything. I guess they didn't want to close it up due to like the high risk of infection.
Mm-hmm. So. Man. And how many days has it been since your surgery?
I think it's been about 3 weeks. Yeah. About 3 weeks. And they're telling me it's like a 4 to 6 week like process on average. So like they let me go, like my doctor let me go back to work remotely, and thankfully I have a job. They let me do that. They've been wonderful. Like I love my job. I love my management, my bosses. They've just been super supportive and everything. So I'm back at work remotely, and my doctor's like, as you can. And so far it's not been too busy, and I've been able to, help out, whatever ways I can and everything. And I don't have to like exude myself. And then I should be able to go back to work in person on May 8th, I think, which is another 3 or so weeks. But even then I still have a limitation. I can't lift anything past 10 pounds. And like what I do, like part of what I do is I work in like production for like video and audio production. So I'm carrying around like speakers and audio equipment, cameras, all this equipment. And it's like, I can't do that for a while. So I'm still limited, once I do get back, but I mean, I'm looking at every day, I'm getting stronger. I just feel a little better, like I said, I'm not able to walk fast or not like walk my normal pace. Like it still hurts. And yesterday, because of the wound back change, like it really hurt. Like, and I was hurting really bad last night. And then I woke up at like 4 a.m. in really bad pain. And then instead of being in bed, I laid down in this chair and, I woke up this morning, it wasn't hurting as bad. So it's better, but then tomorrow they got to change the wound back again. So yeah.
Once I stop doing that, I think you're going to see yourself get better a lot faster. They're still messing with the area. And maybe when the drain's done its work, you can really heal up better.
So. Yeah, I think eventually they're just going to do the wet dry, which is like a wet gauze on the inside of the wound and like a dry patch on top, which isn't, it's still a little painful, but it's nowhere near as painful.
How do you think this is going to change your life?
I've eaten better, which is good. And I'm losing weight, so that's also good. So it's a good plus. And I can't eat as much, because my stomach shrunk. That's good. So portion control is really good. So there's some positives. They cut my muscles, my abdomen muscles, and so I don't have that core strength, and that's why like a lot of things are limited. Like it takes me a long time to get up. It's very painful. I can't walk as fast. Certainly, like singing, I don't have the power behind it because I can't use my diaphragm. So until that's all healed up, I think even with the music and stuff, like singing might be a little more of a challenge. We'll see. We got some time before like KCF and audio feed, and we'll see. I'll keep working at it. And my sister-in-law is a physical therapist, so I'm sure she has some. Once things are healed up, she'll probably have some things I can do. Right now, she told me the only thing that's going to help is walking, so I've been trying to do that as much as possible. Like I can sit at my computer for about an hour and a half, but then it starts hurting, Yeah. So music production right now is kind of on a hold. I actually haven't even turned on my studio computer.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You rest.
That's what I've been told to do, and that's what I'm following the doctor's orders and everyone else's orders. So yeah.
I just think of the creativity is going to pour out of you once you get back, right?
Mm-hmm.
How has this experience changed you spiritually?
I think the biggest thing that's kind of been an eye opener, like I've always believed in the power of prayer. Like I pray for people all the time, and I've seen God do amazing things. But like the one thing that really hit home for me, because like I said, this has been going on for like a month or so, like even before my surgery and everything, and people were praying for me and reaching out, and just it's very humbling to have so many people praying for you. And like my mother-in-law had put me on like a prayer chain, and then like other people, it just kind of spread throughout the nation. Like there was like prayer chains in the Midwest, there's prayer chains here in Arizona, and like all over the place, and just all these people were praying for me. And it's overwhelming, like to have people love you like that, that don't even know me, or maybe they do, but most of them probably don't. And like being faithful and just really like, asking God on my behalf. And I truly believe like, because everyone was praying for me, especially during that, like the first time I was in the hospital, and then like up until surgery, and just that time in between, because it's like 20 days of like, I could have died. Like it didn't really hit home until about 2 days after I was home. Like I just started crying. I'm just like, God, thank you for sparing my life. But I truly believe it's because so many people were praying for me. And I think, and it's one of the things that God really highlighted to me. And I'm like, I want to encourage people. Like your prayers are not weak. Your prayers are not powerless. Your prayers are not just you talking to the air. Like you are actually talking to the God of creation, the God who created you, the God who loves you and knows you intimately, like knows you personally. Like Scripture says he knows the amount of hairs on your head. And like, if I were to do that, and I could actually know that for somebody, like at best to be a party trick. It's not life changing, but God cares about that, even that detail. And when we pray for one another, it's really powerful because God's really powerful, and He does listen. And obviously, not everything's a yes or not everything's a no. It's up to Him. But like, it's not a waste of time. It's the most powerful thing and loving thing you could do for somebody. And I know in our society they joke around. They're like, thoughts and prayers, and it's usually people who don't know God. And it's like they don't know what they're saying. Like they truly don't know the power of prayer. And if you truly love someone, you pray for them. It is an act of love. It is a powerful act. And it's something, God loves to spend time with us. God loves to listen to us and interact with us. And so I just want to encourage everyone, like, don't think of your prayers as weak or powerless or a waste of time. Like, you praying can literally save someone's life, truly. And I'm proof of that. And that is the one major thing I've gotten out of it. The other thing is just like, I have people reach out. They're like, hey, can you start a GoFundMe? I want to donate. I'm like, I'll look into it once I'm feeling better and stuff. And so I'd started that yesterday, and there's been such an outpouring, not only financially, but like people have been like reaching out and they're like, I'm praying for you. Like they're still praying for me. And it's overwhelming. Like I feel like I don't deserve the love that people are showing. And I know like I matter to God, and I know I matter to people. And it's just overwhelming to see people like truly love me. And I'm not one to like usually ask for help. I mean, I will if I absolutely need it, but asking for money is really hard. And I have insurance and stuff, and they'll cover a lot of this stuff, but I still don't have all the bills yet, and I don't know what it's going to cost. So like, I kind of based it off of like my insurance. They have a maximum out of pocket. That's kind of what I set it for. And like in like 24 hours, like it's already over halfway funded, and I'm just blown away. And I love to see people love one another, people praying for people. It's just beautiful to see people living out godly principles and how it's supposed to be. People have the capacity to be compassionate, to love one another. And it's just simply love, and that pure, simple love. And it's the most beautiful thing. Like, and it's overwhelming me, like emotionally and every other way, like seeing that, because it's so beautiful, but it's also like very, very humbling. I'm still blown away, and I'm just like, I don't feel like I deserve any of it. And maybe that's the point.
You absolutely matter, and you absolutely do deserve it.
Thank you.
You absolutely do. What scared you the most?
I think the first time when I went in the hospital, they were talking about surgery, and I was really scared of it. I think when I was going into surgery and they kind of explained everything, like that helped, but it was truly like God gave me this like peace that surpasses understanding. Mm-hmm. Like I was just like, I'm good. Like I know God's got me, and that's the thing He's shown me throughout this whole thing. It's like, I got you. But I think, like I said, the 2 days after I got home, it really hit home of like, I could have died. Yeah. And I was thinking about my wife and my kids and like everyone I love, and being gone, really, it was very sobering, and I think I guess I wasn't so much scared because I'm here, but it was just very much like this could have gone really a completely different direction, Mm-hmm. And it kind of made me think more of like, how can I use my life to love people more? And how can I use my life to serve people and serve God more? It's, we get so caught up in our day to day and our own little world, and I think that's natural. I think most people, we have that tendency. but it's not about me. It's not about my life and all that stuff. I'm called to love people and love them well. I'm called to serve people and serve them well, and serve God, obviously, through all that, and that's where kind of my mind's kind of gone. My heart's kind of gone. It's like, I don't want to waste my life, do anything selfish, and I don't know, I know it won't be perfect at that, but it's something that God's been showing me. And it's like, man, like, how can I help people more? How can I love them more and demonstrate like the love they've shown me and the support they've shown me? Just kind of talking with God about that.
Deeper worldview shift there. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. You talked about the peace that passes understanding, which, I am also familiar with that.
Yeah.
But what do you do to calm your spirit when you're anxious?
A lot of times I kind of tend to isolate myself and just talk with God, because that's really like the only place I can get peace, Like I have anxiety and things like that, and I get anxiety attacks every once in a while. Thankfully, not a lot, but especially anymore. But especially when I would have those, I would isolate myself and kind of desensitize myself from everything, because a lot of my anxiety comes from like chaotic noise. But it's just that time alone, that time just, they talk about like a secret place with God and spending time with God, and it's just you and God. And like even Jesus talked about, like when you go to pray, like go into your house, close your door, go into your room and close your door. And like, like that's the ideal, and Jesus would go off alone all the time and just spend time with his Father,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's something that we can all do, we're feeling anxious or whatever, try to find some way of just spending time with you and God alone. And I'm thinking like in the hospital, like, how do you do that? Because there's always someone coming in, but I think it's even those little amount of times where you can, and I did that a lot. I didn't turn on the TV once when I was in there. I just would talk to God, and I would just, meditate and things, and just spending time with him, and then listening to him and pouring out my heart to him, and I think it's important. Like we can be honest with God. We don't have to filter anything. We don't have to act like everything's okay. We don't have to pretend anything. Like just that raw, real relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I get rid of my anxiety and stuff. So yeah, if I'm feeling anxious and stuff, that's to me, that's the best way to do it.
What's the first thing you want to do when you're better?
Practice singing.
How did I know that was going to be the case?
Well, I have to, because I got a couple of concerts coming up. So
got some gigs coming up.
Yeah, but I want to go on a hike with my family. I want to spend time with them.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to do, if I could do some things that are physical, yeah, that'll be good. But I want to spend as much time with my family as possible.
Has any of your other bucket list shifted now that this has happened?
I didn't have much of a bucket list, so I think one of the things I've wanted to do since I was a kid, it's been on my bucket list, is go to England. I don't know why. It feels like a home that I've never been to. I just feel called there, and it'd be really amazing to go. My wife has been there when she was younger, and so when we got married, like I had been to Hawaii, she'd been to England and all over, and so I was like, okay, well, while we're married, we've been married for 23 years, but it was one of the things, like it was like the unofficial vows of like, okay, while we're married, like I'll take you to Hawaii, and then you take me to England. I took her to Hawaii in 2007, so I'm just kind of waiting.
She owes you.
You know what? Like she's been taking such good care of me. Like I owe her so much. Like it's not about owing and stuff like that, but it's like, like
who's keeping score?
Like, exactly. My wife is so amazing. I love her so much. She's been so good to me.
That's amazing. If you could ask for a miracle, what would it be?
Honestly, for all the wars that are going on to stop. Like truly, like it's so devastating. Like people just like kill each other or they hurt each other because of some leaders, at the top, and I do support Israel, and I don't mean to make it like political or whatever, but I truly support them. Just biblically, there's a lot of reasons for it, and I want to see that end. Like, I'm tired of people dying and all that stuff. And one of my nurses that comes, she's my home nurse, and she's Russian. And then she also went to medical school in Ukraine. So she knows both languages. She has family in both and all that stuff. And then I have friends from all over, through music and stuff. And they're, Ukraine, Russia, they're whatever. And every single person I've talked to, they're all against the war. No one's like, this is a great thing, And yeah, that would be the miracle. I mean,
Okay.
I'll heal just fine. Like, and if I don't, it's fine. Like God's got a plan for me, and I'll follow whatever He wants. But that's the thing that's been heaviest on my heart, especially the last couple of years. And I would love to see all those wars end and people just be good to each other, and kind to each other.
I know you haven't really felt like opening up your computer much. You haven't gotten on your studio yet, but is there some creativity going on in your head? Have you been thinking about some things? Or is it just too early in your recovery?
Honestly, I really haven't thought about it much. And I think part of it's just because I don't feel well and I don't have the capacity to sit down and write anything. Like I use my phone all the time with the voice recorder app. So if I do come up with a melody or a beat or a lyric or whatever, I usually just kind of record it in there and I can always go back to it, which I do recommend if you're a musician and you don't do that, it'll change your life. So, yeah, I haven't gotten really creative with it. And I just
not at that point yet.
Yeah, not there yet, but I will.
I think there's going to be a floodgate of stuff coming out of this.
I do have one song coming out that hasn't been announced yet.
Well, you just did
it. Well, we're going to be announcing it sometime soon.
Okay.
But it's actually my 3 projects. So I have Turn in Line, which is like a cinematic, it's kind of like a dark cinematic score kind of soundtrack kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Pataconi, and I have Monica on there from TheoTerran. And so it's a Pataconi song. It's featuring TheoTerran and Turn in Line.
Okay.
Basically just me and Monica. But I thought it'd be fun to include all 3 projects because it does have elements of all 3 in there. So that's going to be a worship song. So, yeah.
All right. Well, there's something for us to look forward to. I'm going to let you go because I am sure you're tired. I wore you out and got you all emotional.
All good.
But what can your fans do for you? I mean, I'm thinking we need to be praying for you, praying for your healing, that you'll be able to get back and provide for your family. I think it's awesome the way your job has handled that for you to figure out a way to keep you working. But we need you back at your full capacity at work. And the GoFundMe, we need to get that thing funded completely.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody has the money, but we all can pray, mm-hmm. right? And if the Lord puts it on your heart and y'all want to help David with his GoFundMe, it's on your website, and we'll also have it on the landing page for this interview. So they can go straight to it. Okay. What else can we do?
Yeah, I think prayer, number one. The GoFundMe, I would love to see that funded. Again, I don't know what the full amount's going to be yet, but it's just kind of like a guess based on what my insurance wouldn't pay. And if you want to share it, that's really appreciated. If you want to buy my music, stream it, whatever, sharing anything it's still really helpful. Mm-hmm. So if you like the music, if you like, that kind of stuff, feel free to share it with your friends and your grandma and your puppy dog and your enemies. So anyone's invited. Well, some of us just like David Pataconi, so thank you. Yeah. The music is just the icing on the cake, right? Yeah. I really appreciate you, Cindy, and everyone, involved in your ministry. I appreciate just everyone praying for me. It's like I said, it's sustained me. It's changed my life. It's saved my life. And I'm eternally grateful. And I can't think that there's not words like in the English language to exude the amount of love and thankfulness and everything else that I'm feeling towards everyone, because I'm here, I'm still here, and God has been really good. And I've had so many people that have helped in so many ways, and praying is the most powerful thing. I can't enunciate that enough. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dave, we love you and hope to see you very soon.
Thank you so much, Cindy. I really appreciate it. I love you too.
Right. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more great music and check out my blog page on the Solid Rock Radio website for my guests' social media links. If you've missed any of my past interviews, you can find them uploaded to podcast.solidrockradio.org. Have a wonderful week, and let's be kind to one another.